If you are a new or an aspiring founder of your small business and have no time to waste or really struggle to do your social media marketing, you will enjoy our Creating Reorganized show. In my day job as a psychology professor, I teach my bachelor and master students in real life how to reorganize processes in a goal-directed and future-proof way in companies. And that's what I have done for a living as a former IT strategy consultant. For my own career coaching business on the side, I can only dedicate a fraction of my time because, I prioritize care work for my little children. I face the same or similar challenges like all small business owners. So I applied all my experience and knowledge to create my other video podcast, Postdoc Transformation Show, to streamline my social media marketing and to boost sales of my coaching, e-courses, and affiliate products or services. I strategically capitalize on professional tools to scale my impact according to my vision of life. Listen and subscribe to this Creating Reorganized show so you will learn to do the same for your own business, to build the know, like, and trust factor, and to boost sales of your services or products. Please also ask your business-specific questions because for the next seasons, I envision interview episodes with aspiring and new founders like you if you want to get your Creating Reorganized according to your vision of life. As in every episode, at the end, I will wrap everything up from a psychological method, theory, or concept point of view. So stay tuned until the end of this episode, especially if you are my bachelor and master student in real life. I would love for you to take notes and maybe even already recognize my arguments. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and now welcome to our show, Creating Reorganized. Hello, dear Creating Reorganizer. Welcome to the Creating Reorganized show for you. Are you a small business owner struggling to find the time for recording, editing, and publishing your video podcast? You're not alone. Timing is everything. And especially if your goal is to connect with your audience worldwide and to maximize sales. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and today we're going to be diving into seasonal strategies for your video podcasting success. This episode will help you plan your video podcasting content calendar so that you can enjoy your vacation and wonderful events in your life. We'll cover why timing matters for video podcasts, recording, editing, and publishing, seasonal strategies to align your content with your audience's behavior and demand and interest, tools and tech to streamline your workflow year-round, and of course, actionable steps to start optimizing your podcasting schedule today. Grab a notebook and let's get started. Part 1. Why does timing matter? We can think about timing from two different perspectives. One is around you, and the other one is around your ideal customer. Let's start with the ideal customer. A video podcast isn't just about sharing great content. It's about reaching your ideal customer avatar at the right time, when that person is interested and ready to buy. So publishing at the wrong moment could mean that your message gets lost, while timing it perfectly can amplify your reach and impact. And that really depends on where they are in the time zone, but also on which platform, and whether they are still at work or whether they are in the weekend, etc. Or maybe whether they are in their vacation and having a lot of time. And that's also about you. So if you don't feel comfortable in front of the camera because you're not camera ready, then obviously it's not good. Every viewer can see whether you feel comfortable or not in front of the camera. Let's pause quickly to appreciate those who sponsor this valuable episode. I want to share with you my best marketing agent. Serving my underprivileged, underrepresented, and underserved audience, leads and clients is key for me as an Asian working mom, business owner, and professor in Germany. But I can't be marketing and selling all the time, and I have to be mindful with my own resources. So I chose Podbean as my podcasting host and monetizing provider. I'm on the Unlimited Plus plan for our Postdoc Transformation Show and Creating Reorganized Show. With Podbean, your audience can inclusively listen and watch your podcast according to their visual and auditive needs. You can also embed your customized podcast player on your external website
or use one of the beautiful website templates. You can easily share your podcast on all major podcasting directories, which allow you to reach a huge audience on their favorite devices in their countries. Podbean also has an ads marketplace, and you can easily attract and manage sponsors for dynamic ads, which are played out depending on your audience criteria. This way, you can serve your audience for free. Some of them become your clients eventually, but your advertising sponsors independently support you financially in each episode. You will see insightful stats per demographic and which episodes attracted most listeners, so you can tailor your future episodes for your leads and clients and present suitable external ads. If you want to try out Podbean for your own podcasting, DM or email me Podbean so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Podbean link. Thanking our sponsors for the financial support, we are happy to return to a valuable episode.
So let's talk about the buyer's journey. To understand the importance of timing, let's turn to the buyer, your ideal customer avatar. Your audience needs to be aware that they have a problem. If they don't have a problem, they don't want to solve it. So they need to understand what the problem is, and that way you can help educate them and share that the things that they experience are problems that they can solve. This is the consideration stage then. They evaluate potential solutions, and hopefully you are there to present your solution as the best one. Then, of course, they need to decide whether they choose your product or service to solve their problem, okay? And again, if their problem is not urgent, not important, well, they won't solve it, regardless whether your solution is the best or not. So you need to create a sense of urgency that they want to change the situation with your service and product, okay? And then you can align your video podcasting schedule with these stages to ensure that your content meets your audience where they are. For instance, you can have content that makes them aware about the problem, but you don't sell yet. And then you can have content that helps them decide so that they choose your product or service over others to solve their problem. So along the calendar year, you could do awareness-focused episodes that might well do in January when people are setting goals. Remember goal setting? Yeah. And then in the middle of the year or in spring, you can talk about consideration stage. So they don't have to decide yet, but in November, December, when they're ready to buy, when they're ready to tackle the problems, they have understood that they have a problem, they want to solve it, then you need to go all in for presenting your solution as the one to be bought. So that's the decision-focused episodes. These work better later in the year. For example, in my case of the postdoc transformation show, I roughly follow the semester plan for PhD students who also teach bachelor and master students. They conduct their own research and they travel to scientific conferences in specific months of the year. So November and December are the crunch time for writing PhD program applications. February and March are the months of acceptance or rejection letters and also graduation days. I have created evergreen episodes, which I can then, for each topic, promote on social media when they are most interesting for my leads. So if you are a small business, you can do the following. For example, you're selling sustainable home products, and then I own a house as well. As a mom, I'm also interested in sort of having a clean house or whatever, sort of. But in general, I'm very aware of eco-friendly resolutions. So of course, I want to do better. So I want to use better detergents instead of wasting too much plastic, etc. So in January, I would consume readily content about eco-friendly resolutions, so that makes me aware about my problems that I want to tackle. Then in March, you could also present to me spring cleaning with sustainable tools so that I consider them as this is a better tool. So this way, along the year, when I see that, maybe I can buy that because I've seen this all over my social media already. So in November, or on Black Friday, you can sell that to me much more easily because I have already been primed with your products as the go-to solution. So I decide to buy it. And this is the buyer's journey applied to me. And why do I think about buyers so much? Well, I remember my days at an international grocery store. You can look that up also on LinkedIn. So back then, we created the promotional marketing assets for Christmas already in July to be in store in September. And to be honest, most of these items, these are all emotional all-time favorites. So it was a matter of keeping 80% of the bestsellers from last year and adding trending new things for the current year, of course. So that would be for this year or last year, Dubai chocolate or something like that. As you all know, I also have another video podcast, the Postdoc Transformation Show. And for that one, I wanted to promote my best interviews in an advent calendar. Okay, so I prepared my advent calendar, which is December the 1st until the 24th for social media already in August. And here's a pro tip. I had 24 slots, obviously, to fill, and I wanted to promote already published interviews. So instead of just, reposting, I wanted to repurpose strategically. So to add something new, I created a Typeform with questions that I sent to more than 24 previous guests with a comfortable time window, August, right, to respond. And in these questions, I ask all my previous guests to share behind-the-scenes insights, additional tips in hindsight, and of course, an update about their own business. So this is what they had in it for them, right? So I was not only promoting their episodes in my video podcast, but instead they were having the chance to promote their own businesses again with some updates of their already recorded interviews. So also, here's another pro tip. They could complete my form submissions on Typeform, which then triggered automatically my caption generation geared towards the specifications on LinkedIn and Pinterest and Instagram captions. Okay, so that is half automated, I would say. I created a branded set of 24 advent calendar themed cover images. That was in seconds. Pretty automated, to be honest. And remember that I already had video clips from my interviews. And then I used Metricool and their auto list feature to put together an advent calendar cover image, a video already made before, and the new caption I co-created with my guests. That is my standard intro, a selection of my questions and the guest answers, and my standard call to action, which is essentially click to listen to this interview. So here's your actionable prompt. Think about your audience's key decision-making moments throughout the year. Create a simple timeline aligning their needs with your podcast topics.
Before we continue, we want to appreciate those who financed this valuable episode for you. I want to share with you my time and energy saver. As a professor for industrial and occupational psychology, I also teach about the future of work, and as a former IT strategy consultant, of course, I embrace AI to be a future-proof podcast producer of the Postdoc Transformation Show and the Creating Reorganized Show. Descript is the video and audio podcast editing tool of my choice. I pay for their creator plan, and it's worth every dollar. Descript comes with an integrated professional remote recording studio for the best audio quality for your guests and you. For example, I record an hour interview with a guest or a solo, and instead of painstakingly doing a rough cut and deleting all the ums and ahs and filler words and rambling around, which I did for hours, I now click on Descript's AI, editing for clarity, and my rough cut is done in seconds or a minute. For fine-tuning, I edit text instead of audio waves, and I just insert all my pre-recorded music, intro, ads, and outro, like this one, in a matter of minutes. I can then easily export closed captions, fine-tune AI-driven summaries, chapter markers, and titles, which I feed into my show notes and podcast host. Descript even suggests the best clips for social media, and their video editor automatically includes the synchronized speakers' cameras and audio captions. I can also include stock graphics or pre-recorded videos. You can find our short-form examples on our Instagram and TikTok at Postdoc Transformation. If you want to try out Descript for your own podcast editing, DM or email me, Descript, so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Descript link. Thanking our advertisers for their financial support, we are happy to return to our inspiring episode.
Part 2. Seasonal strategies for podcast recording and publishing. Okay, so now that we know that timing matters, let's dive into when to record, edit, and publish your podcast to align with the seasons. So record a quarter or half year before. I know that sounds ambitious. You will thank me later. So script and record episodes way before you publish them later in the appropriate season. This is really a game changer to allow more flexible time for editing, approvals with guests, and aligning the publishing date with your guests' promotional calendar, right? So if you have interviews, then it's not just you, it's also them. So you don't know when they have a launch, when they have a promotional period. So you can ask them, when do you need this episode most, right? You can publish seasonally and in a recurrent rhythm, like weekly, every 2 weeks, or even monthly, to keep the momentum and focused, aligned with your audience's interests, demands, and problems. You need to present your services and products as their solutions in every trending season. Let's look at each season. Let's start with winter. So there's goal setting and inspiration. In winter, especially January, that is the prime time for inspirational content. People are motivated to improve their lives, making it the perfect time to showcase how your product or service can help them achieve their goals. Again, to remind you when to script and record for winter publications, a quarter before, so autumn. For example, if you are a fitness coach, you can create episodes for planning to do more sports in the week according to the New Year's resolution. Another example is a business coach. You could create episodes about controlling the yearly expenses and to plan the New Year's business goals efficiently as a small business owner. Or if you are a vacation business, you could create episodes about dream holiday stays for all school breaks in the coming year. Let's jump to spring, shall we? So that is the season of growth and renewal. You can highlight topics tied to spring cleaning, tax season, or preparing for summer. And of course, you can script and record a quarter before. So in winter, here's the pro tip. I finished the first leg of my spring recordings in November and the second leg then in February to allow myself more personal flexibility in December and January. Okay, so here's an example for the fitness coach. You could create staying on track with the fitness goals after the first month of fitness hype. And you can create a vision for the summer beach body, right? Another example for the business owner or the business coach is to create episodes about streamlining workflows. So for me personally, I always think of, oh my God, it's again Easter, and that means it's again tax time. Another example is much nicer vacation. So if you are a vacation business, you can think of creating episodes about the dream holidays for the next school break and in the moment content from current vacation guests. You can use B-roll or testimonials from last year if evergreen. And then, of course, this third season is summer. And that is, of course, fun and engaging. So summer is typically a slower time for many industries. And it's also the time when people have more leisure time. And while I don't want to create a lot of content, I am very happy that I use Metricool to sort of like consistently publish the content when my existing audience wants to deepen the engagement, but I'm not available as such. So I can publish light, engaging content such as behind-the-scenes episodes, question and answers, or even customer success stories if you have already. Every season has a theme, so people are in a relaxed mood in summer. You can use summer music in your videos. You can tailor your messaging to resonate with positive emotions like freedom, adventure, or connection, and your audience will be more focused and receptive for your message if you align the audios and visuals with your seasonal topic. Okay, so there's not so much winter music or spring music, but there is a lot of summer music, right? You can use trending audio. And where do you find them? On TikTok, obviously.
Let's pause for a moment to respect those who sponsor this valuable episode. I want to share with you my #1 lead generator, and you can start that even without a podcast. It's Typeform, and I use them to create free quizzes with open questions and multiple choice answers. I also predefine mandatory answers so I can qualify and score leads, collect their email addresses for later nurturing. I can brand my quizzes, for example, my Check Your Readiness to Leap Out of Science quiz, with my audio and video files, so this way I can share specific podcast episodes or other information based on their answers, and then automatically send them an email after submitting the quiz. I even included a calendar invite for those leads who qualify specifically. So now I can help everyone on the surface for free and divert my valuable time only to my high-ticket leads on a deep level. I collect all the data automatically after my initial setup, as I have also integrated it with my remaining tech stack. If you want to try out Typeform for your own lead generation and qualification, DM or email me Typeform so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become the customer using my Typeform link. After this short salute to our sponsors, we now return to our inspiring episode.
Here's the reciprocity principle, okay? So if you have consistently offered free and valuable advice since the beginning of the year, remember we've gone through winter, spring, and summer, you are building trust and loyalty, which can now pay off in increased sales later in winter. And pro tip here, I record in May and June so I can enjoy my summer without scrambling. So when I say a quarter before, it's obviously sometimes 4 or 5 months before or 1 or 2 months before, so that it makes my life easier. The example for the fitness coach is you could create episodes to avoid the motivation for sports when the darker and colder days come, right? That is coming for sure. So how can you be motivated for that? And maybe also you can throw in some gear, even if you don't offer the gear itself, but you can have a close collaboration with another business along the supply chain. And here's another example for the business coach. You could create episodes about looking back to the first half year and to realign your business goals as a small business owner. And let's go back to the vacation business. You could create episodes for dream summer vacations or dream activities in summer, encouraging last-minute bookings. And of course, last season is fall. So this is the perfect time to prepare decision-making and preparation, right? So fall is decision season. People are preparing for the holidays, end-of-year goals, and professional deadlines. I mean, if you're not in there with them, then it's already obviously too late. This is your golden opportunity to push decision stage content. This is also when they buy things and services for Christmas or to finish the professional year strong in Q4, okay? You can publish how-to guides, product comparisons, or promotional content. And remember, you've been already pouring into the whole year. So this is really the time where you can scoop what you have already prepared. And when to script and record for fall publications, again, a quarter before, so summer. And here's a pro tip. I record in the first school weeks of August, but I script my episodes over July, when my kids have play dates, which I oversee, but they don't need me anymore right next to them, for example. So by the time they go into the first week of school, then I suddenly have a time window of 6 hours a day, again, where I can record, batch record, etc. But I have to be ready and scripted out everything before. And the example for the fitness coach could be that you could showcase the best gear for doing sports outside on rainy or colder days, but you should have been making your audience aware that the cold season is coming. And now they are ready to buy the best gear, obviously. Okay? And another one is for the business coach. So a business coach could create content about saving costs or how to readjust to the business goals as a small business owner. And let's go to the vacation business. You could create episodes to motivate winter sport holiday bookings. For example, anticipating a tight budget of your guests, you could partner to create content with your recommended ski gear rental companies. And at the end, you could offer a joint discount coupon for their and your own business. You could also think of family members that are too young to ski alone yet, right? So what are alternative activities that you can offer so that they want to book with you because they have the feeling that the whole family can have fun and not just 3 of you or 2 of you. So winter sport is often a group activity. Maybe you can create a family or friends discount for buyers to bring in additional revenue by bringing in their family or their friends to your business.
Do you know who brings this valuable episode for free to you? If you want a relatively passive income, creating a paid e-course as your service is a great option. Especially if you are like me, an experienced teacher in higher education and now want to share even more knowledge and create a paid membership with live group meetings beyond the e-course. Offering an e-course is a no-brainer, and Thinkific is an AI-infused learning management system which is a dream for every educator. After setting up an e-course and our membership, you also need to market and sell your e-course. And that's when lead generation with Typeform and podcasting via Descript and Podbean can complement you well. If you want to try out Thinkific for creating your own e-course and membership, DM or email me Thinkific so I can share my experience or consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Thinkific link. After this quick appreciation of our sponsors, we are now back in our insightful episode.
So here's another marketing theory. You can create urgency and scarcity. Remember in the first couple of minutes, I said only if they have the urge to solve the problem? Here's why it's so important. Fall is perfect for leveraging scarcity of something that they really want, that they urge to change, that they urge to solve. So limited time offers or exclusive deals can drive conversions. So here's an actionable prompt. You can create a fall-themed episode highlighting a time-sensitive offer such as a holiday bundle or a pre-order. And here's a pro tip. If you have already a website provider, you can also create a time-sensitive pop-up window for that discount code of exclusive deals, okay? So for example, I can do this with ActiveCampaign, which is the centerpiece of my tech stack. Part 3, tools and techniques for year-round workflow. And this is really, of course, my favorite part, right? I'm an IT strategy consultant. So we've covered seasonal strategies, and we now need to talk about how to streamline your recording, editing, and publishing workflow, okay? So number 1, use a content calendar. To be honest, you should be working on your business and not being trapped in social media. So plan for seasonal topics in advance. Avoid last-minute scrambles. You can still add your own spontaneous content. You have a safety net where you can be human outside of your own social media activities, but you have content to serve your audience when they need it. And here's another trick. You should think about your own product launches, okay? So you should align your podcasting themes with product launches or seasons that resonate with your audience. Are you now wondering how to exactly do the content planning and alignment? Already mentioned that Metricool is my social media management tool of choice. Metricool lets me create dynamic content calendars with an auto list And that is also even on repeat. So if you have a topic of your choice, you can use that for a specific social media platform or even two, but I recommend only one because the caption, the vibe changes for specific days or times when you are okay to also respond. And you can even set that on repeat, like I already said. So I have experimented with posting daily. I'm on TikTok, for example, I'm already posting every 6 hours. I have mixed results, so I can then check out how many times do I need to post. So, for example, in the first couple of hours of a TikTok video, there's the biggest response. And then after a couple of hours, it decreases to 0. And then that's the time when I auto-publish another video, for example. So essentially, you can have an auto list for a specific season, which you can then toggle on or off and update, of course, as you want. Let me know if you want me to share all my specific auto list types in a dedicated episode of my Creating Reorganized show. I have one for LinkedIn, I have one for TikTok, for Instagram, for Threads, because all the captions, the vibe changes per social media platform, but the videos or the pictures at such are the same. And also the frequency and the mix in between, they do change, but it's always fitting to the season of being published. So here's your actionable prompt. I want you to draft a simple content calendar for the next 3 months, so the next quarter. Remember, the content should be for the season after the current season, just to make sure. You can include episode topics, recording dates, and also publishing deadlines. Now let's talk about batch recording and editing, and this is essentially what I'm doing. So today I'm recording 3 episodes, and then the editing part can be extended over the next weeks. But batch recording means that I save myself time and mental energy. I don't put makeup at all. The only thing that I want to have a solid hairdo, right? I go to the hairdresser and then record all episodes, but I change up my clothing to mix it up, okay? So next recording, I would have a different dress or jacket or something like that. So batch recording saves me time and mental energy because I can then record multiple episodes in one session and then schedule out my editing process as I have time. And that's what I also recommend to you. So this way you don't record and then edit and then create all the creative things, etc. Because for every of these workflows, I have to be in a different state of mind. Like when I'm creative, I'm not talkative. When I'm talkative, I'm not creative. You can record multiple episodes in one session and then schedule your editing processes as you have time. The only thing that you need to be aware of and you need to prioritize is you are your company's brand, face, and voice. No one else. Editing and also repurposing, etc., is something that you can outsource. Okay? You don't have to be your own video podcast editor. You can outsource that to a freelancer. If you want to do it yourself, then I want you to check out Descript, which is my video and audio editing tool of choice. If you want a deep dive into how I demo products and services with Descript, I want you to watch our previous episode of the Creating Reorganized show, Best Ways to Showcase Your Products or Services on a Video Podcast to Drive Sales, as linked in the show notes.
Do you know who brings this valuable episode for free to you? To celebrate this season of the Creating Reorganized show, I want to offer you a business podcasting internship for 4 weeks. You can apply or join the waitlist for the next season for this treat by sharing why you want to do a business promotional podcast, what your services or products are. And if you and your business are in line with my own values, I will strategize, conduct, and produce with you your first 3 episodes. For the first one, I take the lead and you shadow me. For the second one, you do the work and I help you out. For the third one, you are on your own with me, cheering for you on the sidelines. For more details, see our application form as linked in the show notes. Thanking our sponsors for the financial support, we are happy to return to a valuable episode.
Okay, now let's go into the nitty-gritty details of batch recording. If you're focusing on winter episodes, record 4 January-themed episodes in 1 week, and then you can edit them in the next, and that way you can also use the same props, okay? And if you are recording in the darker seasons, don't forget that you need a ring light or a light box or something like that, because natural daylight can be less available when you're ready to record just because you are ready to record. And believe me, I already had bad lit videos. I think it's also okay for an audio-only podcast, but to repurpose the social media clips, it becomes very obvious that I forgot to turn on the ring light or something like that. It looks simply less professional on a video podcast or as a social media video clip. It's an easy-to-fix problem, so just get good lighting. And here's your actionable prompt. Set aside 1 day this month to batch record at least 2 episodes. That means you need to create the video podcast episode script before. You cannot script and then record, and then re-script and record again. This really calls for 2 different states of mind. I've been there, I've done that. Just set aside to be creative and then to record. So pro tip here, tease the second episode already in your first. And always mention previous or coming episodes, like I just did before, right? So this is the 4th episode, and I record that I have a 2nd and 3rd and 1st episode whenever I think it's valuable. And this also leaves the listener the impression that, you know, what you're doing and are able to package your knowledge in digestible bites, right? And here's another pro tip. I usually have a podcasting season of 8 weekly episodes so I can compare all my stats across 2 full months 2x4, right? I already have started and I've tried nearly everything, okay? I've already started in the middle of the month, sometimes by chance, sometimes on purpose. I also had 12 or 10 episodes in a season, but then, of course, you have 3 full seasons or 2.5 seasons, and that's not so comparable. I also had a dovetailed miniseries within a season because I wanted to get back my retention rate. Let me know if you want a dedicated episode within the Create and Reorganize show on how to script episodes with a season in mind. Now, let's go to automate podcast publishing. Okay, so regardless on social media, for which I use Metricool, like I already said, you need to have a podcast hosting platform where you can leverage automation tools to publish episodes on schedule. My podcasting host of choice is Podbean. I already have been chilling in summer holidays. Rest assured that my 2 or 3 episodes during that time will be published as scheduled. And the only thing that I had to look up is whether it was published or not. As long as you are ahead of your content creation process, which really starts with ideating your seasons in advance, you can truly capitalize on automated podcast publishing. You can also publish live. That is too much thrill for me as a working mom. And here's your actionable prompt. Sign up for a podcast hosting platform if you haven't done already. You can test its scheduling features with your next episode. And here's a pro tip. If you really mean business with your video podcast to promote your own services and products, you can script your first 3 or 4 episodes and a trailer to test the water for a month. Podbean, for example, gives you 5 hours of audio content to upload and to store. You'll get a basic podcast stats for measuring your results, and you can make the most out of that. If you test it well prepared, with your scripts ready to record and publish, if you publish 30-minute episodes, then you probably have 10 episodes for free. And you also get a customizable podcast website for free. I will link to both of my beautiful websites, and they're really easy to make in the show notes. You also get embeddable podcast players, which I absolutely love because then you can embed them on your guests' websites, on your own business website, or somewhere else. Only if you use my Podbean link, I earn a small commission while you enjoy your podcasting perks for free, always if you don't choose to upgrade. Let me know if you want a dedicated Create and Reorganize show episode on how I use Podbean.
So far, you have learned all my favorite marketing and sales tools. Now, how can you bring all the data from your audience, leads, and clients together so you can serve them on a value ladder and for the long term? Even after multiple touchpoints with you, you want to remain on their mind for when they are ready to buy your service or product. I'm expanding my digital business, and I use ActiveCampaign as the centerpiece of all my services like email course, podcast, newsletter, show notes, website, sales page, merch shop, forms, whatever it is, as needed. As a former IT strategy consultant, I have high requirements on my tech stack, and ActiveCampaign offers so many integrations to all my other apps. I use it daily. If you want to create your own digital business with the various AI-driven lead magnets and funnel options, DM or email me, ActiveCampaign, so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. Again, I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my ActiveCampaign link. Thanking our advertisers for their financial support, we are happy to return to our inspiring episode.
So as promised, here is a psychological model, theory, or concept applied to podcasting. So if you really want to start your own video podcast because you now listen to the Creating Reorganized show, I want to protect you from podfade. Podfade? What is it? Well, when a podcast, whether it is audio only or video, is said to experience podfade, it actually indicates that the podcast creators has suddenly stopped coming up with new episodes without any prior notice. So not like, okay, so these are the only 10 episodes to go, and then after 10 episodes, it's gone. That is not podfade. Like in my first season, I actually planned to have more episodes, and then I had to suddenly stop because of personal reasons. And it could have easily been podfade, but I came back even stronger. And that was because I was very strategic in doing my things in the second season, because I was not doing it sustainably in my first season. Okay? So I overcame the challenge that I want to prevent you to experience. Because it could also have been like in some other podcasts that I'm a true fan of, they gradually decrease in frequency and sometimes even have a 2-week and then a 1-week and then a 4-month period in between the episodes. So if you're not a true fan, most audience will eventually lose the interest and engagement. And this is not what you want as a video podcast producer or creator if you have this video podcast to promote your own business, right? What happens when podfade hits you? So you have a non-intentional end to the series, to the season, and you don't know how to rekindle that. So if you, as the creator of the video podcast, are unprepared to create good quality content because you don't know the narrative, then podfade is a foreseeable consequence. Why? Because there are 3 root causes. Number 1, insufficient time of the video podcaster itself. I mean, if you are a founder, if you are a small business owner, you obviously have other things to do. And this is why I encourage you to be the brand voice and face, but not the editor. Then it could be insufficient content, and that's why you should be seasonally planning so that you have a quarter to the next quarter to the next quarter to go. And that way you can break down all the things according to your seasonal planning. And number 3, it's about insufficient preparation. And this is why I'm telling you from the get-go, very transparently, a lot of the workflow, a lot of the tools that I use so that you can have a conscious decision of what you want to do and what you may not want to do at the beginning. So as you want to promote your services and products with your video podcast, you will want to avoid podfade, right? You don't want to, spark that engagement and then go away and vanish. You will want to be as professional as you can be about your video podcast, because that really is representing you as your company. Letting it stop unannounced will look impulsive and non-strategic, and that is not the business partnership that you want to convey, right? Even if it would be the right business decision, without a reasonable return on investment, you must make a point by ending this with grace if you want to. But I urge you to think about this before you start, so this way you can adjust your course of actions, but you do this because you know why you want to do this and how you want to do this, and you don't figure it out while you're doing, right? So improvising is only possible if you're already a master of the art. So podfade actually resembles a mild form of burnout, which is also a gradual progress and which is also a gradual process. And this is why this is a model theory or concept that I want to bring in from my psychology classes. So burnout over time, as such, could also go unnoticed and unaddressed. So burnout symptoms, according to the Maslow Burnout Inventory and first research publications in 1976, can be recognized physically, emotionally, and behaviorally. So physically, emotionally, and behaviorally. And most people will experience a combination of those symptoms that includes, for example, severe exhaustion, feeling cut off from others, isolated, feeling that they have no hope for things to change. And obviously, a video podcast shouldn't be the trigger for that. But if you are prone to have that because you're overworked, stressed, etc., then obviously putting a video podcast on your plate, additionally to the things that you already experience, can be a little bit too much. Maybe you can already connect the dots from our previous episodes of the Creating Reorganized show. I already told you that podcasting, be it audio only or via video, can be a lonesome task unless it is the marketing activity of a small business owner or founder, right? But if you're just a solo podcaster, I guarantee you this is a little bit lonesome. So if this is the first time for you to be in front of a camera, a microphone, you're recording yourself for the first time and you're editing, you're hearing your voice and thinking, oh God, I didn't know that I sound so like this. I didn't know that I'm not really looking into the camera. I didn't know that, whatever. So all of this can be stressful if this is the first time for you to see yourself. And that's why I'm encouraging you to consider audio only, voiceover, or even focusing away from the camera lens as a workaround to test the water if a video podcast is something for you. The thing is, as a founder, small business owner, you don't have to be Mr. Beast on YouTube. Set your expectations realistically. It's enough to be finding and also engaging the right listeners who buy your services and products, even if these are just a handful. If it's a very valuable and high-priced service and product, then you just need a couple of buyers, right? So you are not video podcasting for the masses. You're not competing against all those young influencers that can do this because they have been nurtured on the social media platforms. So expectation management is key, especially if you have just started enthusiastically and idealistically poured your heart and soul into your video podcast without or stagnating value for your effort. You can easily lose your motivation to continue your video podcast.
Before going back to our episode, we want to appreciate those who financed this valuable episode for you. Are you wondering when and where you can get the attention of your audience? You always think you don't have the time for posting on multiple social media platforms. I totally get you. I have been enjoying weeks of social media breaks during the school breaks while I served my audience with prepared content to be scheduled out as needed. Ideally, you have just derived countless social media content from your one video podcast episode. Even without a podcast, with Metricool, the Swiss Army knife for your social media management, you can create and schedule your content in advance, according to the best posting times based on your followers. For campaigns across many days or weeks, I capitalize on their auto list and repeat features so I can focus on the important things according to my vision of life. If you want to schedule your content on social media, DM or email me, Metricool, so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. Again, I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Metricool link. Thanking our advertisers for their financial support, we are happy to return to our inspiring episode.
And I then want you to look into your podcast statistics, right? So hypothesize about what is going well and what is going not so well, what can you change up, and then compare the outcome of your changes, right? Once you start procrastinating, scripting, recording, editing, and publishing, this will become very stressful for you. And that is why I'm telling you, with this episode, you can plan ahead, quarter by quarter, season for season, because this is easier then for you to be consistent on your business brand, okay? At worst, you can personally suffer, become less productive, start deteriorating. And, if you're tired and you appear irritable, then obviously it's also hard for your listener, your viewers to follow you, because it's not engaging and it's not pleasant to watch you because you don't look like you're happy. Especially in the era of social media and without knowing how much AI and automation, etc., others expert content creators capitalize on, it's hard to maintain the level of effort starting out as a video podcaster, okay? If you're using AI, if you're using automation, the output will be huge. The variation will be huge. This is why I'm trying to be as transparent as possible about the services and tools that I use. It's really easy to be frustrated when you're doing things manually for the first time and others are, capitalizing on tech with a strategic experience, knowing what they want to do, know how they want to do it. So don't compare yourself with them. The good thing here is if you have a business on your own that you run, your video podcast is not your only thing, right? It's not your top priority. It's just one of the projects that you have to also manage. So you probably won't fall victim to rely on excessive alcohol or drugs or to change your eating habits or something like that. This being said, this is the last stage of burnout, and I don't want you to experience burnout. This last stage is described with apathy as you collapse and resign physically and psychologically. And a video podcast shouldn't be the cause for that. So you need to watch out for the physical symptoms. Are you feeling tired, exhausted most of the time? When you try to record, well, maybe it's the wrong timing, wrong cadence. Try to do it not weekly, but bi-weekly or monthly or something like that. Recurring insomnia and sleep disturbances. Don't think like, oh my God, tomorrow I need to publish the next episode, but I haven't recorded it yet. So you're doing an all-nighter. Don't do this. Don't do this. Frequent headaches, muscle or joint pain. So if you don't feel comfortable in front of the camera because you are sick, then obviously don't record, because even if people are sick, you will listen and hear that they don't feel comfortable. If you have intestinal problems such as a loss of appetite or, you're sick all the time, so you're losing your voice, this is really not good as a video podcaster, right? So this is why I already told you that I have batch recorded a lot of episodes before I edit, because I know that from time to time with 2 little kids in school, I happen to be sick with a sore throat. It's my type of preventing myself from being stressed because I don't have any episodes canned that are ready to go. Okay, then you can have high blood pressure, issues with breathing, and emotional symptoms. So this is when you are not able to convey your message, and then you have to redo and redo and redo, and then it doesn't really feel nice. And then we're talking about emotional symptoms, and maybe you've already heard that, but some people rant on their podcast, and it's not a service for others, for the audience, but they use their own podcast to vent as an outlet. And I don't think that this helps anyone. Instead, it tells the listener that you're currently feeling helpless, trapped, and also defeated. Maybe you feel self-doubt, feeling a failure or worthless, and you ramble, give away a lot of information that is unrelated to the context that you're talking about. So you don't want to convey that message in your video podcast for your own company. And this is where I highly recommend using Descript, because their AI added for clarity will help you to stay on track with the message that you want to convey. A video podcast is the most authentic way for you to display your joy over your services and products. People won't buy things from you if you don't feel joy. So burnout as a video podcaster is something that you hopefully won't experience as a new podcaster. But after a couple of episodes, after being enthusiastic and energetic, podfade can happen. I want you to look out for the following physical symptoms that I will list out in the show notes instead of just telling you all the things. So you can tick them off, say, yeah, maybe not. You feel already the podfade. So taken together, a video podcast is never so important that it should trigger you to become burned out, okay? For me as a psychologist, mental health is utmost important, especially if you have a business to run. Your marketing should not be such a burden that you can not handle that and do not run your business anymore. I want you to think about the workflows that I have already elucidated in the previous episodes of the Creating Reorganized show, so that you can realistically set your expectations right on what are the things that you want to accomplish. With this episode of the Creating Reorganized show, I help you to avoid podfade and avoid to burn out while video podcasting to promote your business. And if you plan seasonally your content calendar, you will always have enough time, content, and also preparation. To recap, timing is really key when it comes to recording, editing, publishing your podcast. You need to think about your customer and yourself, okay? A lot of that is forecastable, so there's really no need to be stressed out. By aligning your content with the seasonal trends and audience's interests and behaviors, you can maximize engagement and also drive your own sales year-round by minimized effort on yourself, okay? So here's your challenge, okay? You have to be in your client's shoes before they are. And if you need further help, you can send your seasonal content draft to me and get my opinion. Sign up to my email list via the link in the show notes. I am active on many social media platforms, but I cannot respond to each and every DM. So the email list is the only place where I have organized everything, all the incoming demands and questions, etc. And if your video podcast has not worked out for you, you have the permission to stop and adjust the frequency, content, style, etc. And maybe even adjust, depending on your goals, whatever is needed. Because your video podcast is just your marketing arm for your business. Your video podcast is not the main thing. So what is the main thing? I think it's you, your mental health, and your vision of life. And then your business, and then your video podcast. So happy creating reorganized according to your vision of life.
Do you want to start your own side business as a runway for your better future? Then you will benefit from our free business readiness quiz as linked in the show notes. Are you a small business owner and want to create sustainable marketing and sales content? Try video podcasting about your service or product, like I do in my postdoc transformation show. I'm a mom of 2 kids in school and a professor, and I have no time to lose running my business. And if you also want to save time and energy, use our Dovetail Evergreen strategy. You can easily derive countless valuable social media content from just one video podcast episode. You can quickly attract a broad audience across many social media platforms and then nurture them into leads and clients in their ears and emails while you live according to your vision of life. Let me teach you Creating Reorganized. If you're ready to dive in and start your own podcasting journey, I highly recommend checking out the tools I mentioned earlier: Podbean, Descript, Typeform, ActiveCampaign, Thinkific, and Metricool. Each of these services has made my podcasting business experience smoother and more efficient, and I trust that they can help you too. Thank you for listening to our Creating Reorganized show. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with your business friends, and leave a review on your favorite podcast player. Your feedback helps me as a small business owner to serve more small business owners for free, so thank you. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and now I wish you a happy creating reorganized according to your vision of life.